Good evening. This is the October 26th meeting of the Moscow Planning and Zoning Commission. Welcome, everybody. We apologize for the delay in getting a quorum. Couple of housekeeping items, orders of business before we get started with the meeting. First off, I have the honor of recognizing Joel Hamilton for coming up next month, 41 years of service on the Moscow Planning and Zoning Commission. So Joel, there's a card from all of us. So thank you. We had a little event with you a few weeks ago, but thank you so much. Your service has been incredible.
Well, thank you. And it's been certainly a memorable experience.
I'll bet it has been. Hopefully still is. Okay, the next item is more housekeeping. City attorney has asked commissions to take roll call votes on actions that we're taking. So from here on out, we'll be calling vote by name on roll call as we go through, even with something as simple as the minutes of the meeting. So I just wanted to let you know and Victoria, we'll have you last. Tonight, okay. I'll go Nels and Joel and Dennis and me, and then you will be last. So, okay. So with that, we'll get the meeting started. The first action item is approval of the September 28th minutes. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
A motion.
Dennis moves.
Second.
Second from Joel. And so we'll start with you, Nels. Your vote?
Aye.
Aye. And Joel?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Aye for me. Victoria?
Aye.
There. Thank you very much. Next item of business is a public comment period. If an item is not on the agenda for tonight, if somebody would like to address the commission, we would welcome your comments. Only if it's not related to the hearing tonight. Please come up if you'd like.
It's related for. I'm Rafiki Tani, and
Could you give your address as well, please?
Southwest 1515 Wadley Drive, Pullman, Washington, 99163. I want to talk about an item. It's not really related to our development, Rolling Hill 10, but it's related to the standards of development in the city. There's something that cannot be decided in a short period of time. I hope that I can get things rolling and at least thinking about it. When we develop, when we have a subdivision, we put all the sidewalks in right off the bat. And unfortunately, you have a development, no houses on it. You put all these sidewalks, but then you got to build the houses. And as a result, you go across with the heavy machinery and heavy trucks to build a house, and you destroy the sidewalks. I would guess about maybe 50% of sidewalks in a subdivision are ruined, or you can take a drive on our subdivision, Crestview, and you'll see one house, 3/4 of the sidewalks are gone. And it's really unfortunate because not only they cost a lot, it's a cost to the public too. I mean, you gotta take those sidewalks out and you gotta redo them again, even though you paid for them already. And if the house is not sold, then who's gonna absorb the second batch of expenses? So what I'm asking here is that some consideration for a grace period, not to eliminate sidewalks but at least a year, maybe 18 months. And usually the subdivision is not populated at that time. The use of sidewalks is minimal. And if we have a year or so, a lot of the several houses will be built. You minimize the amount of, of sidewalk, broken sidewalk that you have to take to the dumps. So that's
That's great. That's an interesting point. I appreciate you raising the issue.
thank you.
Good. Very good. Certainly something I've wondered about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll Mike, we'll maybe have some additional discussions about that. That's a fair point. Okay, anybody else would like to? Any of you gentlemen up? Okay. All right. The next item is our public hearing. It's proposal for a preliminary subdivision plat for property generally located east of the intersection of 3rd Street and 6th Street within the city of Moscow. And we'll start with a presentation from Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So before you tonight, we have a public hearing for Rolling Hills 10th edition preliminary plat. And it's a 6-acre area, create 20 lots ranging from 7,000 to 12,376 square feet in size. And this is the subject property highlighted in red at the center of your screen. You can see the existing 3rd Street extension here to the west, Atani Drive to the south, Panorama Drive to the east, and Mosier Park property located here to the north.
What is the blue line?
Represents the current city limits boundary is the purple line there. So just a closer view of the property. You can see Ryan Lane ends up stubbing in here to the south, 3rd Street. This actually happens to be Rolling Hills 9th edition here to the west. And this would be Harvest Hills edition here, 2nd edition to the northwest. So bringing up a topography map. Each one of these lines represents about 1 feet of elevation change. So you can see quite a bit of slope on the southeast side. So about 30 feet of elevation change from the properties on Panorama down to where the street would be within this addition. Comprehensive plan land use designation currently designates the property as auto urban residential, as well as the surrounding properties. Parks and open space designation are the parks in the area. So Mosier Park there to the north. So what the comp plan says about the auto urban residential designation, it's predominantly single family detached homes, lots ranging from 7,000 to 11,000 square feet in size. Typically more isolated than the surrounding uses, which may require automobile transportation. So it's typically low to moderate density residential uses, 3 to 6 units per acre for the density. And it could include a mixture of single family, twin home, townhouse residential dwellings. And then it points to the appropriate zoning designations. So it'd be the R1, R2, and R3 zones. So it brings us to the current zoning configuration of the area. Properties currently zoned R2 as well as the surrounding area. The R2 zone is a moderate density residential zone, appropriate where the following circumstances are present. Single-family dwellings predominate the area. Terrain's not harshly irregular, and smaller lot sizes could be accommodated without extensive earthwork. Utilities and other public facilities are adequate for the densities allowed. And the existing lot development patterns and policies embodied in the comp plan also guide the application of that zone. So R2 is really a single-family zone as far as the density. It does allow market, community gardens, group childcare facilities, and public parks and recreation facilities. So Rolling Hills 9th edition, like I mentioned before, 20 lots, a little over 7,000 square feet to 12,376 square feet in size. So R2 zone, the minimum lot size is 7,000 square feet, and the minimum lot width is 60, and all these lots do meet that requirement. 3rd Street in the area going through the subdivision is a collector, means it's a 34-foot wide street section with bike lanes on both sides and no on-street parking for collectors. Does include curb gutter sidewalks on both sides of the street. So brings us to the proposed preliminary plat. You can see the extension of 3rd Street through the Rolling Hills 9th edition, heading in the northeasterly direction, kind of paralleling the property lines along Panorama. Ryan Lane would be extended to tee into 3rd Street. So just a little bit closer of a view. There is a existing sidewalk connection from Panorama that'll be continued down to 3rd Street as part of this development. The city is responsible for half of the street frontage improvements adjacent to Mosier Park. And this was dating back to a development agreement for Moser Estates Edition subdivision. And so it's unlikely, given the topography, that there'll ever be some type of vehicular access to the Mosier Park property. So we've ended up expanding 3rd Street to allow some on-street parking here on the north side. And there'd be about 250 feet of bump out there. So it would accommodate about 10 parking spaces on street to allow for some parking for the park. Here's the proposed grading plan submitted by the applicant. So you can see those slopes there. Like I mentioned before, it's about 30 feet of elevation change from this point to this point here on these lots. And then you have some tapering elevations, more extreme as you head to the northeast here for the park property. There is water service in the area, and water mains will be extended to the current terminus of 3rd Street along the 3rd Street alignment. And then looking at our water system plan, existing systems has adequate potable and fire flows to serve the development. Sanitary and storm sewer mains currently exist in 3rd Street alignment as well, and those will be extended. And then the 2011 comprehensive sewer system plan, the existing system is adequate to serve the additional flow per the plan. And then stormwater runoff control standards do apply. And so all that stormwater will be directed to an earlier Rolling Hills addition, which has sized the detention pond appropriately to accommodate the additional flow from this proposed subdivision. Parkland dedication has previously been met with the Mosier Parks, and more dedication is required. So with that, staff recommends the commission conduct the public hearing, and upon consideration of testimony presented, recommend approval of the proposed preliminary plat with no conditions. And then, of course, in accordance with the commission's decision, direct staff to prepare the RCS document. And I'd certainly try to answer any questions you had.
Questions for Mike, Joel?
One of the, maybe the second or third slide you showed showed land use with the park and green. Two of the lots intrude into what's green. Is that a conflict, or is that just that one? Is that's a detail that ought to be cleared up, or is it just a figment of the map?
It's just a result of probably Scribner's error on mapping for the comprehensive plan. So we'll just clean that up next time we update the comp plan. But it's intended to be general, so it's a comp plan designation. So typical parcel level identification isn't really necessary for the comprehensive plan. It's more of the general land use pattern of the area. So not a concern. Yep.
I guess I really don't have any questions about the development itself. One thing that's running through my mind is trying to figure out what the plan is ultimately for connection to the north and to the south of this area. What is there a master plan that anybody has produced, or showing where these streets ultimately go?
Yeah, we have on the thoroughfare plan within the comprehensive plan, it shows 3rd Street essentially coming at this alignment and then heading due north from here. And so there's a property that contains quite a few trees there to the northwest.
Okay.
But there's one property owner here to the north, Mr. Jewson, who's planning, I believe, an additional subdivision to connect that. But essentially, it would connect to D Street as soon as D Street's extended further to the north.
Yeah, with the
It'd be
bridge over the creek.
the D
there.
Street alignment,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not intended that it connect any further north than D Street, or is there a connection that'll ultimately take it to Mountain View?
It's in the thoroughfare plan, it's planned to connect all the way to Mountain View. It would just depend on when the property owner to the north of Mr. Juson's develops his property, whether or not, it'd have to be extended at that time. But
Yeah, that's been one of the things that I've seen in 41 years is the expectation that this development is going to be the last one, and we don't worry about further connections. So I like to see at least there's thought about what connections there ought to be.
yeah, and certainly the applicant has been working with the city and the property owner to the north to get the right alignment of Third Street as it heads out of the subdivision in order to be able to tie in and continue that to the north.
Any other questions for Mike Nels?
He's smarter than me. Have a good question. I'm okay.
Okay, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm good.
Victoria, any questions?
Nope, looks good. Go ahead.
Mike, I did have one. In the response from Parks and Rec, they requested this 9-foot additional width in the 250 feet that I showed in the plan. But my question was, if the design is approved, does that meet that requirement, or do we have to have a condition that says that we have to have that parking area?
We don't need a condition, no.
Okay.
Yeah, they've modified the plat to include that.
Okay,
That'll be checked on the construction drawings, but essentially the city's responsible for half of those frontage improvements on Third Street adjacent to Mosier Park. So
Okay.
the city will be participating in that construction.
Okay,
So
all right.
we'll make sure that that's there.
super. Okay. All right, Mike, thank you very much. Any other questions? Great, thank you very much. With that, we will open the public hearing. We will hear from the applicant first, and then we'll hear comments from anybody that is in favor and comments from people that are opposed to the development. And then we'll have an opportunity to have a rebuttal from the developer. I'd appreciate if anybody that's addressing us could limit their time to 3 minutes. And with that, we'd like to hear from the applicant.
Hi, I'm Ryan Itani, the applicant and also the civil engineer for this project. I think Mike did a really good job of summarizing the project. So just wanted to make myself available for any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Ryan?
Is this the last of the long line of Atani?
Yeah. Well, for now, it's it's the last piece of the master plan that my dad started many years ago. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And the proposed development that appears to be entirely consistent with the stuff you've done in the past.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Dennis?
No,
And Victoria, any questions for Ryan?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much, Ryan. So with that, we'd like to hear from anybody that has testimony in favor of the project. And anybody that would like to speak in opposition to the project or general comments. Please come to the podium and state your name and address if you would, please.
So my name is Jared Shannon. I live at 506 West Taylor. So I live on campus at the University of Idaho. The one question I do have about this is I'm noticing with the addition of subdivisions, what is the traffic impact going to be for Third Street? Noticing that like since I've been living here for 4 years, I've noticed get noticeably more traffic. And so like what are we going to be seeing at, especially if you're looking to connect Third Street down to another street in the future? So that's it.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that I have a specific answer to that. Mike, any comments, or Joel from transportation?
Well, this portion of Third Street's eventually going to connect through Harvest Hills Second Edition. So those will connect. Then it'll dump it out pretty much at the intersection of Mountain View and Third Street. You know, currently we have the pedestrian bicycle bridge at Third Street. And so most of the traffic will be directed to the south on Mountain View. likely down to 6th Street or up to D Street.
Okay. I mean, I think certainly an expectation that there will be some increase in traffic. So, okay, anybody else that would like to comment or general comment? Okay, with that,
Can I
yes.
ask one of Ryan? What does it feel like to have a road named after you? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, let the record show thumbs up.
Okay, with that, seeing no other testimony, I will close the public hearing and open it for conversation, discussion amongst the commissioners. So any questions, comments?
I think it looks wonderful.
Seems like an Atani plan, and looks well done.
Okay. Victoria, any comments?
No, it just looks like the last piece of that pie, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposal for a preliminary subdivision plat. And Mike, can we do in one motion the RCS as well?
Sure.
Okay, so if we could have a motion to approve the preliminary subdivision plat and direct staff to approve or to prepare the RCS.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Dennis, Joel second. All right, roll call vote again. So Nels,
Aye.
Joel,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
me, aye, Victoria.
Aye.
Okay, so we have approved the plat. So thank you very much. Appreciate all of you coming, and we will probably be seeing you again at some point in time. So great, thanks very much. Okay, so moving on. Next item, Mike, is the buffer yard requirement update.
You have a quorum, yeah.
I thought we were going to have some testimony.
Yeah, right.
Well, I don't have much of an update. I think I introduced this a couple months ago regarding updating of the buffer yards. Since we have a light group here, I think we'll probably table this till the next
Oh,
meeting.
that works.
Don't have quite the ordinance prepared tonight, but I will give you a little teaser here of just updating the graphics on the buffer yard. So this is an example of the type A. And so luckily we don't have any landscape architects in the room tonight, but so this is my amateur graphics ability. We'll be going through and updating this table. So that's what you have to look forward to.
We'll with bated breath. Okay. Moving on then, Joel, transportation.
Well, that's easy. I believe the next Transportation Commission meeting will be in this room on I think it's the 11th of November, the second Tuesday or second Thursday. And there's no agenda posted yet.
Okay, great. That was easy. Thank you. All right, announcements, a couple of things. One of the things, and Dennis, thank you again for the meeting at the last meeting. I know that there was quite a discussion about the parking, neighborhood parking, and Mike and I spoke about that earlier, and there are some discussions and study and recommendations that are in progress. So don't really have anything to report, but thank you. It was really, I wasn't here, but I logged on and watched the meeting from afar. And it was a really interesting discussion.
It was.
You did
It was.
a wonderful job of talking with them about that. So the other thing is we are looking at canceling the November 9th meeting, which would be the next meeting, moving it to the 16th so that we can cancel the meeting that's the night before Thanksgiving. So we would have one November meeting, and that would be on the 16th, if that is acceptable to everybody.
Yeah.
So, okay. Victoria, did you copy all
Yep.
that?
I copied all that.
Super. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I would say that we're done. Do we have to have a motion and a roll vote to adjourn? I just want to make sure that we're, okay.
Yeah, where's your gavel?
Yeah, with that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.